What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Razor Danger here, and today I'm bringing you guys another game review, and today we are reviewing Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition. Guys, I've never played a Tomb Raider game ever before in my life on any platform, so this is my first time to experience the franchise, and honestly, it was a really great beginning, and I'm extremely excited for the sequel, which should be coming out either late 2015 or early 2016, or whenever it comes out. I'm extremely excited for Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, the story for this game is different, to say the least. So you have Laura, who's like the feminine version of Indiana Jones. She's kind of like an archaeologist who's like, I don't really know how to explain what she is. And now, I also probably should tell you guys I've never seen the movies, never played the games, whatever. This is my first time to ever experience anything with the Tomb Raider name on it. And so, pardon me if I get something wrong. I know this franchise has been going for a very, very long time, and I don't want to insult anybody who's been playing it for a long time. So basically, she's like an archaeologist, and she wants to find this island, which is the home of Himiko, which is the sun god. And she's sailing on a ship with some of her friends, and they end up crashing or getting stranded on this island, and they all get kidnapped, and Laura has to escape and then find her friends. And then after she does so, she must learn how to escape the island altogether. And this game goes a bunch of different ways. In the beginning, it's a survival game where you feel like you have nothing, you have no ammo, you need to survive more than anything. And then as the game progresses, you kind of feel like it's more of an action, just shoot 'em up game, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was bad, but it did kind of take away a little bit from the whole nerve-wracking part. Like, am I gonna run out of ammo? Am I gonna run out of bullets? Am I gonna, what am I gonna do if so happens? And it never really does happen because, well, you get definitely more ammo than needed. And so, I mean, take that as you will. But if you're really into survival horror, I wouldn't even say horror, survival games in general, this game probably might be for you if you just, I don't know, it depends on who you are as a person and if you enjoy these kind of games. But then towards the middle of the game, it kind of strays off. She finds her friends, and then, she's trying to learn how to escape the island. And by the end of the game, it kind of turns into this fantasy kind of thing. And I'm not saying fantasy where, like, there's, princesses and dragons and that kind of thing. I'm just saying, you do end up seeing Himiko, and it turns into this kind of mystical, magical kind of thing. It's not like Harry Potter magical, but there is just some oddness to the entire thing. Like I've said before, though, I've never played Tomb Raider, so I don't know what to expect from this series. All I know is from this game, kind of took away a little bit because of that. But I mean, if that's what the series, is, well then great. It stood up to its name, I guess you could say. And this game, I beat it in like 4 or 5 days. It was not extremely long. I didn't really go and explore the open world. There are, like, you can go around and just kind of walk around and experience it for yourself. I just found it better to go from point A to point B and continue on with the story as needed. So I mean, that's just how I played, and I felt like that worked perfectly. So that's it for the story. I'd say the story was, it was an extremely interesting story, and that's what it mainly focuses on. I know there is multiplayer. I did not play it. I didn't really find a need to play it. I don't really like playing, multiplayers for games that are primarily single-player games. So if you like the multiplayer for this game and that's what you play, great. I'm just not reviewing that part because I didn't play it. Laura during the game, she's probably the only character that you really, really care about. Her and her friend Sam are the only two that you actually generally care about what happens to them. There are a few characters where you're just kind of like, you are a jerk. And, you just kind of continue on your merry way, and you're just kind of like, I don't like that character. And that is just your main focus during, not your main focus, but like, you just tell, like, when you see that character, oh great, nothing good is going to come out of this. And so, like, some of the supporting cast, I mean, it was interesting, but they weren't really necessarily needed. And I kind of wish that they weren't there altogether, and it would have been interesting to see how Laura reacts to this when she was all alone. And the story kind of becomes a cat and mouse kind of game. She ends up finding her friends, something happens to them, she has to find them again, and something happens to them, and she has to find them again, and then, she's got to save them. And it's like, it gets sort of repetitive, and that didn't really take away from the game. It's just I noticed at one point in time I felt like I was doing everything just for a second time in a different area, which I mean, it's not terrible. It's not good either. It's just it was what it was. I still enjoyed this game a lot. Now, Laura, I almost like called her. I don't know why I called her Sarah. Laura has these skills, and you can upgrade these skills. There's like survivalist. There's brutal, I think, and then there's one more. Alright guys, I'm sorry. You have 3 basically main sections of skills, and in those skills, you can, like in the survivalist one, you can choose to find more parts to items. And then, in the other one, you can choose to have more brutal takedowns, and then, work on your action kind of thing, which is what I did. I mainly focus on that. But that's not all there is to the game. There is a stealth aspect to the game, and the skills, you don't really feel like you need to pick and choose wisely. It just kind of feels like it's very obvious which skills that you need to pick versus which skills you should pick. You know what I mean? There are some games like Dead Island, or that's kind of a bad example, but there are some games where the skills tree is primarily focused to what you're playing as your character, and strictly that. So for instance, if I was playing Dead Island with my friends, I might have different skills equipped than my friend does. And in this game, it kind of feels like everybody has the same skill at least at one point or another, because some of them are just not worth buying, which is, I mean, it is what it is. Laura also has many outfits in this game. I personally chose one that she has like a vest on with a long sleeve shirt, because I just felt like that it just fit better with the environment she was in than the original shirt, that costume that the original outfit that she's in. But like I said, it all comes down to basic preference, and they all look generally, none of them look too out of place. If you have played Resident Evil 5, or the Gold Edition, or if you've played Resident Evil 5 and you turn on some of the other costumes for those, they kind of don't really seem like they're taking the game seriously, which is fine and dandy. But in this game, all the costumes do make sense and with the story and what's going on. So I mean, it all comes down to your preference. I think overall, this game was an extremely fun game. There are many weapons that you can choose for. I normally use the bow and arrow because that was just my personal preference. That's what I liked more. My friends preferred, using guns. I did end up using. There are times when you have to use other guns than just your bow and arrow, but it was. It's all catered to how you want to play overall. So they're not an extremely wide selection of weapons that you can choose from, but there are some where you can just kind of that you can pick your own play style, which is good to know, especially in a game like this. I catered again towards the pistol and the bow, but that is just me. Tomb Raider overall was an extremely interesting game. Some of the supporting characters could have been not there, and overall the story was pretty good except for the ending. I had a little bit of problems with the ending and how it ended, but that is all good. There is one more thing I want to say before I do end this video, which is, I have to say one thing about this game. It feels like the world is going on and you're in the way. So like, it's like this whole world is going on around you, right? So things are happening and you just can't control it. For instance, this scene right here, this is just one of many scenes where you're falling down something, whether it's an environmental issue or it's because you made a plane fall or whatever the case may be. But it just always seems like something is going on and you can get caught up in the world and the world will control you, if that makes sense. And I've actually really enjoyed that because it felt more like I was alone. Like I didn't really control what was going on in the world. Like it added a survival aspect to the game that I was not expecting, and I really hope they bring back in the sequel. And honestly, it worked really well. So guys, I would say Tomb Raider is probably a good 8 out of 10. Definitely pick it up if you haven't played it. I know the game is old, came out in like 2012 for the Xbox 360, PC, and PS3, but the definitive edition has been out for a while, also for the Xbox One and Xbox One and PS4. And so if you guys have not played those yet, definitely pick it up. It's only like $20. Totally worth your money. You're gonna have a good time. If you have already gotten it and you're just thinking about buying it again because of a graphical upgrade, honestly, I've never seen it on the 360 or PS3. I know the game looks great, and I mean, I'm assuming that it wasn't like an extreme graphic update, but you know, you're seeing the gameplay right now, so you guys can decide for yourselves whether that's worth it or not. The multiplayer, like I said, I didn't play. And lastly, if you enjoyed the story overall, you're probably gonna want to get it again, or whatever, you know, just, it's all based on personal preference. I honestly enjoyed the game, and I'm excited to play it again. I hope you guys had a great time watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I want to know if you guys have ever played Tomb Raider before, you know, in a different game. And if, I'm trying to think of how to word this properly. I would like to know if the whole mythical aspects of Tomb Raider makes sense, and if that is what the series actually entails, or if it's just for this game. So, guys, if you have an answer to that, please leave it down in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.